Joe Rogan and Candace Owens are both saying something doesn't add up about Charlie Kirk's case. And once you hear what they found, you'll understand why so many people are questioning everything.
I want to say one more thing rather explosively.
Joe Rogan and Candace Owens are raising serious suspicions, and you were right to click. What they're revealing is shocking. In this video, you'll hear what Joe Rogan said about the strange details that don't make sense. You'll also hear Candace Owens' findings from her own investigation. Video clips will be played later, and you'll see why both believe the official story has major problems. From impossible weapons and strange suspects to questionable text messages and a widow whose behavior raises eyebrows, the entire case feels off. People are finally starting to ask hard questions.
I want to say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie.
Before we get into the suspicious details, here's what you need to know. Charlie Kirk was the founder of Turning Point USA and a major figure in conservative politics. He was only 31 years old. On September 10, 2025, he was hosting a student Q&A event at Utah Valley University when he was shot and killed. Within 33 hours, authorities arrested a 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson and declared the case closed. But that's where things start to feel strange. Candace Owens conducted her own investigation and uncovered disturbing information. The day before his death, Charlie told 3 different people that he believed he was going to be killed. Joe Rogan also reviewed the official story and called it bizarre, pointing to odd weapons, impossible timelines, and suspects that don't make sense. Let's break it all down.
The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay? He did not express that to me, so I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people who I think are good will be inspired to come forward with that. Now, again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him?
Let's start with the most chilling detail. Candace Owens revealed something that should have made national headlines, but didn't. The day before Charlie Kirk died, he told 3 different people that he believed he was going to be killed. Not weeks before. Not months before. The day before. This isn't just rumor. 2 of those people have written communication from Charlie, actual text messages showing he feared something was about to happen. Candace said, 3 people told me off the record. 2 people have this in written communication from Charlie. Now, let's talk about what Joe Rogan pointed out. The moment he heard the official weapon story, he called it out. Authorities claim Tyler Robinson used his grandfather's World War I rifle, an antique gun with no serial number. That alone sounds strange. Why would a 22-year-old use a rifle that's over 100 years old? But it gets worse. They say Tyler took the rifle apart, packed it into a backpack, climbed onto a roof, and then reassembled it before shooting. Joe Rogan laughed at this. He said, they said he took it apart and put it back together again. Shut up. Do you know how long that would take? And, by the way, it's not going to fit.
He's right.
World War I rifles are huge, heavy, and long. You can't just break one down, fit it into a backpack, and reassemble it on a rooftop without tools, time, and serious training. Joe summed it up perfectly. This story is or hit. Like, none of these things make any sense to me. And he's right. The weapon story doesn't hold up under even basic questioning.
Them being the plane that people have recognized is military. That's tail number N1098L. So this plane left from Texas, went over to Utah right about the time that Charlie got assassinated. It dipped real low. It seemed like, who knows what this plane was being sent there for, but the fact that this plane had been used in the military rightfully alerted people to the fact that they may have had some knowledge. This plane may have had some knowledge of what was going to occur. But one thing I want to clarify for you is that that plane was being contracted. You guys noticed that it was owned by Lasai Aviation LLC. We are awaiting more information, but I just wanted to let you know that you recognize that it is strange. It did happen. There's no question. I've been saying from the beginning, this was a military operation. It's very obvious. The more you peel back the onion, it is very obvious this was a military operation. So it's fitting that you would have a plane that the military certainly uses.
Now we need to talk about the so-called decoy guy, because this is where things get truly strange. Joe Rogan mentioned an older man who was at the scene. Right after the shooting, the man reportedly started yelling, "I did it," and even pulled his pants down. That alone is bizarre. But here's what makes it unbelievable. This same man was allegedly present at 9/11, the Boston Marathon bombing, and was linked to fake bomb threats at other locations. What are the odds of that? Joe Rogan asked the obvious question. How are you at all these different things? What are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the chat perplexity things, what are the odds this guy would be at all those different events and be involved like Hezero? Either this man has the worst luck in history and just happens to be present at every major tragedy, or something else is going on. As Joe Rogan put it, maybe he's professionally insane. Maybe he's a plant. Maybe he's there to create confusion. What makes it even stranger is what happens next. Right after the Charlie Kirk incident, this so-called decoy guy is arrested, but not for anything related to the shooting. He's arrested on child-related charges, which conveniently makes it impossible for anyone to interview him about what he witnessed. That doesn't feel like a coincidence, and Joe Rogan doesn't think it is either.
The other thing, they said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit. Not going to fit. And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? This story is horseshit. Like, none of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane. So he's on the roof, he shoots, he jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Now, let's talk about Tyler Robinson's family, because Candace Owens actually spoke with them, and what they told her is very different from the media narrative. The media claimed Tyler's father realized his son was guilty and turned him in. That's the story everyone heard, a good father doing the right thing. But according to Candace, that isn't what happened. She spoke to sources close to the family, who say Tyler's parents do not believe their son committed this crime. They don't think he did it. Listen to what Candace revealed. Of most interest to me, what I've learned is that his father does not believe his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime, so who actually turned Tyler in. According to Candace Owens, it wasn't his parents. It was a family friend, a former police detective. He told the family Tyler had been identified as the shooter and warned him to turn himself in or face a sweat arrest. Tyler denied killing Charlie Kirk. Candace's source also says Tyler had never been on the UVU campus. He was accepted to Utah State, not Utah Valley. So, how did he supposedly know the campus well enough to move across rooftops and take a perfect shot? Another strange detail, Tyler was reportedly near the campus that day, which may explain the Dairy Queen photo. But if he never went there, why was he nearby at all?
There was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Now, something uncomfortable. Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica. Nobody wants to point fingers at a widow, but many notice things that don't add up. Nick Fuentes said what everyone was thinking. Erica took control of Turning Point USA just 72 hours after Charlie died, filming, hosting shows, smiling. Nick Fuentes said, "It's one thing if your husband dies, another if he's publicly executed with blood gushing out in front of thousands. Nick added, "Everyone was thinking it. Something is off there, and I don't like it." Maybe this is how Erica copes, but with money missing and Charlie planning a major audit, questions matter.
Most interest to me, what I've learned, is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime. I was like, huh? Excuse me? That's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story. The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend to help him convince his son to turn himself in, because this guy, you know, this mysterious guy was a friend and just had a connection with Tyler. And eventually they said, "You got to do the right thing here. We know this is you." That was the vibe. Certainly that's what the media was putting down for us to pick up.
1 week before Charlie died, he announced a major audit at Turning Point USA. Millions missing. 1 week later, he's dead. Candace Owens said she had a dream. "I don't know who betrayed him, but the truth will come out. It's inevitable and will have international consequences." Why are the people closest to Charlie silent? Why hasn't anybody vindicated what I've been saying? That's very suspicious, Candace said.
I don't know. It's one thing if your husband dies, period. It's another thing if your husband dies at age 31, unexpectedly. It's another thing if your 31-year-old husband unexpectedly dies because he gets publicly executed with blood gushing out in front of thousands of people screaming and running away. That's like something that's...
Let's go back to when this first happened, because Joe Rogan's immediate reaction on his podcast shows just how shocking it was. Joe was recording when the news broke that Charlie Kirk had been shot, and you can hear the disbelief in his voice. This just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot. It's _ awful. And is he dead? Joe was searching for information in real time, checking Twitter, trying to understand what was happening. You can hear how surreal it felt to him. "It didn't seem real," Joe said. "It seems very surreal. It's going to take a long time before we reference this as something that happened." Joe also spoke about how divided the country has become and how some people would even celebrate Charlie's death simply because they disagreed with his politics. "No one deserves that," Joe said. "No one that has different opinions. No one deserves that. But I know people are going to celebrate it because this is _ up time, and people have really fallen into this trap of us against them." He's right, and that's exactly what happened. Some people did celebrate, and that's deeply disturbing.
Someone says she doesn't believe Charlie Kirk was killed by Tyler Robinson because Kirk appeared to her in a dream. Yeah, this is what I want to get to real quick.
Said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. I sure hope if I was assassinated in front of the world that he would raise hell to figure out what actually took place in that day. That's not being a friend. A friend is not someone who stays silent when lies are being told by the federal government. That's not a friend. Again, emotionally manipulative.
Just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's awful.
And is he dead?
That's what was just...
One of the guys out there just said it was confirmed that he's dead.
In the lobby was just...
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
Murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
So, why does this matter? Why should you care that Joe Rogan and Candace Owens are questioning the official story? Because when major voices start asking questions, it usually means something is wrong. When details don't add up, people in a free society have a right to demand answers. That isn't a conspiracy theory, it's common sense. Candace Owens pointed out that she's being attacked simply for asking questions. Critics say she should stay silent and let the family grieve, but she pushed back. They want us to believe that honoring Charlie means shutting up, when in reality, that's the exact opposite of what he gave his life doing.
Answering questions. Turning point. Answering the questions is what he was doing in the second that he died, okay? And we all are feeling spiritually the same way, so I'm just going to say it. They're not grieving right. It's not up to us to decide how people grieve, but I will say unequivocally that you shouldn't grieve by lying or by gaslighting. Is that fair? Can we all agree? You should not grieve by lying and gaslighting the public.
Yep.
You add a bunch of, if you're going to kill a guy, you add a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense, and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of shit like that.
Let's wrap this up. Joe Rogan and Candace Owens have raised serious questions about Charlie Kirk's case. We have a weapon story that doesn't add up. A so-called decoy suspect who appears at multiple major tragedies. Charlie warning people the day before that he believed he'd be killed. A military plane circling the area. A widow taking over the organization within 72 hours. And millions of dollars missing from an organization Charlie was preparing to audit. So here's the real question. Was this truly just one 22-year-old acting alone? Or is something much bigger happening behind the scenes? I don't claim to have the answer. But I do know the official story has more holes than Swiss cheese. And when voices like Joe Rogan and Candace Owens start asking questions, maybe it's time we all pay attention. What do you think? Do these inconsistencies raise red flags for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one and genuinely want to hear what you think. If you want to stay updated as more details come out, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Something tells me this story isn't over. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.